Hello and welcome to this video about data collection and data storage. We're going to be looking at specification point 3.3 for the Cambridge Nationals IT, and we're going to be talking about the information that you are needed to know within that specification. So 3.3 asks you to understand the method used to collect data and store data or information and the appropriateness of the use of these given in a context. Okay, remember you're going to be given an exam question that's going to give you a random context and you're going to have to apply your knowledge. So you really do need to know these inside out. We're going to look at the methods to collect and store data in questionnaires, surveys, email sensors, interviews, consumer panels, loyalty schemes, statistical reports and secondary research methods, and then look at the appropriateness of the methods. And it's going to take roughly 3 hours worth of your time to complete this little body of work. Okay. Everything that we're talking about relates to pages 41 to 50 in the book that is appearing on your screen now. And there is a useful condensed table on page 47 of each method with advantages and disadvantages. So do use that book to support you. Okay, so first of all, questionnaires. Questionnaires and surveys then. Well, a survey and a questionnaire are often very similar, but there is a key difference. A questionnaire is used to collect data from a list of questions. It is not used to look for trends, behaviour or a bigger picture. So a questionnaire would be to just get some views, some opinions from a group of people, but you wouldn't necessarily look for any trends in that data. A survey, on the other hand, is a data collection through a set of questions, exactly the same, but for the purposes of statistical analysis. So to be able to look at what's been put and then come out with an overall idea. A good example of this would be I could give a questionnaire to each of you just to try and find out what your favourite sport is or what your favourite movie is. Or I could give you a survey about your favourite packet of crisps, or flavour of crisps should I say, and then use that data to go away and develop my own flavour of crisps that I think that you would like. Okay? So that's the differences between a questionnaire and a survey. The next one is an email. Emails and email messages are distributed by electronic means from one computer user to one or more recipients within a network. Remember, a network could be the internet, so it can be anywhere. And it's become quite a daily habit now to be to actually check your emails from the moment you wake up. It's a lot of things that people do, especially professionals. They quickly check their emails. They're a part of our daily lives and our daily routine. So it might surprise you that as of 2020, based on a mass amount of data that was looked at, there are 294 billion emails sent every single day. 294 billion, which is a phenomenal amount, okay? And so emails are used quite regularly to communicate with each other and to share information, to share resources, to share attachments in an easy and quick way. Sensors are used to collect data. We often don't even realise that they're there, but they're used in everyday life to collect information and data about us. So it could be a health sensor, it could be a sensor within your car, it could be a sensor on your phone to detect the brightness and then therefore what to do with the camera. It could be a sensor on a doorway to open the doors. It could be a sensor in a barcode reader to read the barcode. They are everywhere that we use them. Okay, so looking at the 5 Internet of Everything or Internet of Things sensors that we use in our daily lives. And I want you to think about the things that we use now that happen so often, okay? As it said there, then there's 1 trillion sensors that are being used every day. We use them for sensing dirt, for sensing heat, for sensing light. We use them for sensing when things are missing in a fridge, okay? Temperature sensors then. So temperature sensors are used quite regularly and they're used to determine whether or not things need to be watered or not watered as much. We use humidity sensors to be able to track water vapour in the air. It's used in air conditioning systems to make sure that we can measure how much water is going on. Most modern cars now have a digital speedometer and a digital accelerometer which tests the accelerator. You might have seen on news channels or on things like that where they've used heat detection, where they've looked at things from maybe a helicopter and looked for heat maps. We've looked at optical sensors. These are things that look at rays of light and signals what's going on inside of a body, or is looking at how things are used. These are used within our phones, and they're used within things in medical grade equipment to be able to track blood pressure and so on and so forth. And so it's really important that we think about how important these sensors are to our daily lives. Okay, another one is interviews. So an interview is carried out when one person is trying to get information from another. And some of these images here, you might think, oh yeah, a job interview. But interviews are used far more than that. You might be interviewed by a head of year or by the police regarding something that you might have witnessed. You might be interviewed by your parents, but it won't be called an interview, but it might just be them asking you a few questions. An interview can take two forms. It can be a formal interview or an informal interview. And often that'll be outlaid from the start to tell you exactly what it is that you're going to be questioned about, and it's just to ascertain or to get information from another party about what it is that they need to find out. So in a job interview, it'd be to find out what experience you've got, what type of person you are, what your values are, and what it is that you want to bring to the role. In an interview about an incident, it might be where were you, what did you see, what was the incident that happened, and so on and so forth. Okay, so task number 1, and you might want to pause this video now. You need to research the different question types and explain when each of them are best used and why. To give you a pointer with this, you're looking for open and closed questions, tunnel questions, things like that, filtering questions. Have a look at them. The police use them all the time, a range of questioning types, and you get different answers depending on what you ask and how you ask it. I would like you to research how emails can be used to benefit the collection of people's thoughts through a questionnaire. So why is an email more advantageous to send out a questionnaire than for me to stand in the middle of a town centre and ask people as they go past me? And then number 3, explain 4 sensors that you interact with, use every day, and what their job is. Do they store any data? Sensors that I use every day, I use Google Home, and that's got a sensor built within it. My Nest thermostat has got a sensor built within it, so when I walk past it, it comes on and tells me what temperature it is. It's also got a sensor within it that tells it the proximity of me to it, so therefore when I'm returning home, it turns my heating on, so it's nice and warm when I get home. The sensors within my phone and the sensors in my car, reversing sensors, a sensor for me to put my seatbelt on, and so on and so forth. So that should be quite straightforward for you to do. So pause the video now and do those. Okay, so you should have done the task previously, and moving on, we're going to have a look at consumer panels then. A consumer panel is defined as a representative group of people selected by an organisation or business to provide opinions and inputs for consumer research. Okay, now you are a consumer, I am a consumer, it's anybody who purchases something. It targets key consumers though and asks for their opinions. A key one that I've been a part of, which isn't very thrilling, was for nappies. Being provided with some nappies that had been brought out by a supermarket and to try them out. It's kind of like testing it, and it's getting opinions from people before they go to mass market. It's really important. Big food chains do this, where they allow people to go and try their new products from their menus before they launch to the general public. That way they can iron things out. It's great for the consumers, but it's also great for the business. Okay, loyalty schemes then. Loyalty schemes are like a thank you to a customer for their loyalty to that business. And whilst loyalty schemes often come across as being really good for the customer, they're also great for the business as well. So it's to build customer loyalty. Businesses offer special discounts to customers who make regular purchases. The strategy is known as a loyalty program. If executed well and with the customer at the centre, loyalty programs can help your customers feel good about purchasing from you. And it makes your ears prick up. It makes you think, oh, that's for me. Often, it is a deal for you because you're in a loyalty scheme, but it targets you to pay more or buy more than you necessarily would, okay? A good example of this, I'm a Manchester United loyalty member. I buy a Man United top once a year from them, but they email me every month with loyalty prices for the Manchester United store. I've not gone onto the store to buy anything, but probably 2 times a year, I'll have a quick look and go, oh, yeah, I'll buy that. And I wasn't going to. So whilst I'm getting a good deal because I'm a loyal customer, they're getting a good deal because they're getting more money from me as well. So there are 2 sides to that. The next one then is statistical reports. This is something that you should be more than aware of with the COVID-19 pandemic. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen many statistical reports and data from these reports shared on every channel imaginable. On social media, news outlets report this data. The R rate is something you've probably heard of, and how's that got? Well, it's got through a mass amount of statistical data that's then analysed. You might have seen the infection rate, you might have seen the transmission rate, you might have seen the numbers of people who are infected in your local area. All of those are collected statistical reports and analysed, okay? So the UK has a branch of government in charge of statistical reports, and that's called the Office of National Statistics, or ONS data. You might have heard Professor Chris Whitty or Boris Johnson mentioning that in recent months. And a UK standard for statistics governs the statistical data and the validity and authenticity of that statistic. That was a mouthful and a half. Now, statistics work for businesses. You can say any statistic that you want and it isn't necessarily a lie, it's just taken different pieces of information. For instance, I could get 5 people to give me feedback on a product and see what they give me feedback on that product. If it's all great, then I could put 100% of customers find that this product improved whatever it might be. If I find that the data isn't what I want it to be, I can then add to that data to make the percentage better. So I can ask more people and make the number of people that don't like it reduce. Or I could even shelve that, make a small change to the product, and then ask 5 more people. And you can see that statistical reports can often not give the whole picture because it's just data, okay? And remember, data doesn't have any context, okay? And we need it to be information in order to get context from it and understanding from it. Okay, finally, the one that you're probably most familiar with is secondary research methods. Secondary research methods are those that are used such as social media or search engines and as secondary sources. So you might have heard of that term in history. Now, secondary sources are often absolutely fine to use, but we don't know the validity of the data. We don't know if it is bias. We don't know if it is the truth. And it's very different because what can be posted in a secondary research forum is very different to what can be posted in a primary research forum. To give you an example, BBC News sends out a reporter to find some information about something that's happened in your local area. They then report on it. They're reporting on secondary data that they've got from people who they've interviewed, but they're giving you that information via their website, and a primary source was their people who they've interviewed. Okay? If I then took that report and I rewrote it on my own blog, I could put whatever I want. I could change what's been said and what's been found, and that would become secondary research methods or research data. And someone could go on and believe that when I haven't actually done any investigatory work myself. So they have their benefits, but they also have their negatives, and you need to be aware of that. Okay, so I'd like you to pause now and look at these next 3 tasks. So what are the best, most subscribed loyalty programs in the UK? Think about Sainsbury's Nectar Card, Tesco Club Card, Boots Advantage Card, things like that. Why are they beneficial to the customer or the consumer? And then why are they beneficial to the business themselves? What storage method is used to house large quantities of data, such as the census? The census is coming up later this year, so if you don't know what that is, do that quick research on that. But what is held? What do they hold that on? They don't hold it on a CD with billions of pieces of information. What do they hold it on? Have a look at that. So I'm looking for a storage method, such as a hard drive or something like that. Do a little bit of research. And what is meant by the term bias? And then finally, what effect can biased information have on someone? I'm not going to use that word that Donald Trump used quite regularly when he was describing the media, but it is something to have a look at. Okay? Please like and subscribe to the channel so that you can get updates as the videos are uploaded.